In this video I'm going to be quite blunt and say it's about time you actually did something in your internet marketing, and I'll explain why, because obviously that's the whole idea of the video. But a quick digression, there's a section in one of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy books where a 2-hour flight has been delayed because they're waiting for the delivery of small lemon-soaked paper napkins for your comfort, refreshment and hygiene, and the people on the flight have been put into suspended animation, woken up for coffee every now and then, but they're in suspended animation for 900 years because the delivery still hasn't arrived. And while that's plainly absurd and memorable, it's been several decades since I read the book, but I still remember the passage. It's a lot closer to how some people operate their internet marketing business than they'd care to admit. Any excuse will do rather than get something happening, and if that's you, it's time to snap out of that mode. For instance, I read on a forum this morning that someone wasn't ready to launch their new site because they didn't understand SEO, search engine optimization, and that's a fairly standard blockage for people. SEO has an air of mystique about it, at least partially created by the people who sell you SEO services, funnily enough. But in practice, it's one of those things you can get reasonably right with very little effort. If you're using WordPress, there are SEO plugins, such as the one from Yoast, that guide you through the process and even have bullet points on things you should consider changing. And they're even flagged with traffic light symbols. Green is fine, amber is have a think about it, red is we don't think it's particularly good. And their advice is usually okay, although how closely you need to follow it is less certain, because beyond the basics of a title and maybe a meta description, everything else is pretty much up in the air. Especially things like keyword density, using images and videos, word count, and near enough every other factor are inside a very broad band marked your mileage may vary. But other factors that are often stumbling blocks with internet marketing include setting up your autoresponder sequence. That's something like the initial welcome message, the sign-up form, whether you should use single or double opt-in. I personally prefer single opt-in wherever possible. Whether or not you should take people directly to the download page, yeah, definitely. Or anything else that's lurking in the control panel, and there's lots of things to dither over if you're not careful. Before you even get to the autoresponder stage, some people anguish over the precise domain name to choose or which hosting package to go for, and domain names are what you make of them. Google, as a name, meant nothing a couple of decades ago. Big companies spend a fortune on name changes, throwing away all the branding they've paid for until that date. And most of the time, I guess you probably don't even know the domain name of the site you've clicked on. I know I don't half the time. Hosting, yeah, that varies in quality, but for a low traffic site, and again, no offence, yours probably will be, except in your wildest dreams, it doesn't much matter whether you've chosen something that charges $1 a month or something that offers lifetime hosting for a one-off. Although that said, I wouldn't personally trust lifetime hosting for a one-off price because there are ongoing costs and they need to cover them. Creating content, and that's often a showstopper. We sort of question whether we're worthy to create it, even though the answer is almost certainly yes. And if you know enough about your niche, or you can research the topic you're discussing, you're qualified to create content. Double check any facts so you're not compounding falsehoods, but that's a simple search process. It takes a few seconds. Then right away and click the publish button, and if you get something wrong, you're not alone. Correct it. Same as newspapers have a corrections section most days to change what they've said in the past, except with a website, it's normally just a matter of going in, editing what you've written and clicking update. Choosing a niche, and again, that's something that is a complete blank for people. They've no idea which niche to tackle or even where to start, and sometimes it's a case of you can't see the wood from the trees. There's so many different potential niches that you don't know where to start, so go with your first instinct if you've got niche overload. Run through your hobbies and interests if your mind's blank. There'll be something there, even if it's doing its best to elude you, or you could ask a friend for advice if you're really drawing a blank. Will you get the choice right every time? No, almost certainly not. But there'll almost certainly be enough traction in whichever niche you choose to get you going. And you can always move on, letting the site languish in a dusty corner of the web if it turns out to be the wrong choice, and if that's the case, treat it as a learning experience, because it will be. You'll find stuff out and you'll think, didn't realise that. Overanalyzing things, that's another stumbling block. It happens a lot. You can spend months or even years trying to outguess what will happen, and Because most analysis really guesswork, and economists are good at that, but if you go back through their predictions, they're no better than your daily horoscope, sometimes worse. No one that I'm aware of has a working crystal ball to predict the future, so a lot of work's been done to retrofit the predictions, for instance, made by Nostradamus, and he's one of the better known people to produce a bunch of prophecies, but it doesn't mean they were evident before they happened. They have been backfitted. Oh, that, yeah, hindsight, okay. But until you do something, you probably won't know what will happen, especially in the world of internet marketing where there are just so many factors involved. Even things like adverts aren't totally predictable. The numbers of people searching fluctuate by the hour as well as the day and week and season. And there are just too many factors, and most of us just aren't qualified enough to do the full-on multivariate testing that you need to possibly understand them, or we don't have enough data in the first place to make it reliable. So if any of those are holding you back, make a decision that you're going to move forward instead. Pick a time and a date, preferably now, today, then do it. Yeah, you could break out into a cold sweat at the thought, but the nice feeling that happens once you've decided to take the plunge, it'll make your earlier worries fade most of the time. You might even look back and think to yourself, was that all I was worried about? What was stopping me? And that happens a lot, and you can make it happen to you by starting pretty much now. But if you'd like some more real-world advice on internet marketing, well, I'll let you hesitate a little bit longer and take a look at the link below this video. It links off to my email list, and you can click the link and join me, and I'll keep you up to date with lots and lots of things that'll help you. So, your choice, but ideally, it really is about time you did something. Thanks for watching.